stats list this year I've ever looked at stats in my life.
Well, you had 4 guys play 45 minutes or more Wednesday. You had 3 games in 6 days when there's not new. You had a bunch of injuries. How do you try to navigate kind of keeping the guys fresh while also getting things done in practice?
Yeah, it's hard. Yesterday we brought him in, spent 30 minutes on the court getting him tape, and showed him the clips that we picked out from the Virginia Tech game, and then spent a lot of time in recovery with our Doug Jones, our trainer, and strength and conditioning coach. They spent more time with him than we did on the court. I think it was an hour with him, 30 minutes on the court. You don't know if it's going to be good enough or not, but that's we did need to get some things done on the court, so we tried to do that. And yet 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, they're supposed to be able to handle this stuff. So, but we are very concerned about it, yeah.
How is Brandon doing with the neck? Is his rehab going along okay?
That's probably the best way to say it. Okay, he didn't do anything yesterday. They're going to allow him to go through the first part of practice today, nothing live, and he wants to do that. Don't say allowing it. We're planning is a better way to put it. We're planning him to go through the first part of practice and then reevaluate at that time. So it just depends on how he feels.
Do you have to seek a different medical counsel in his situation because it's not a basketball-related injury, or?
I think they've already done that. I don't do it, but I mean, I think they've already reached out and gotten some other opinions. And you know, the thing is, he felt so much better before we played Pittsburgh, but he got hit, and it was one of the plays he got hit in the back of the neck, not in the back of the head, but got in the back of the neck, and it tightened up, and it's been bothering him more since. So we didn't even take him to Virginia Tech. So what I just said, we just have to wait and see. But I think they've already counseled with other people.
Anything new on Cole's situation?
No.
Garrison looked absolutely devastated at the end of the Virginia Tech game. I mean, even by the standards right now, I mean, he just looked like almost inconsolable. What do you do with a player like that who has given his all and then, you know, is in that, how do you try to get him built back up?
You know, you can try a lot of different things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And I talked to him about we got to bounce back and prepare for the next game, do everything we possibly can for the next game. We may not be successful, but if we don't do that, we have no chance. And so I attacked it with that, and then just told him, you know, I appreciated what he did, and then showed him the tape that I thought he could have done even more, you know, to try to challenge him. But no, I think in the locker room, a lot of guys were hurting, and I would agree with your assessment that it looked like it bothered him more. And as a coach, you appreciate that. I've told you guys many times that Jared Hass cared about. It hurt him when he lost more than any player I've ever coached. He came closer to feeling what we as coaches feel. And there's always been a great deal of extra respect there for the fact that I felt like that Jared gave me everything he had. And that's the way I felt after what Garrison did at Virginia Tech.
Other than having more scoring opportunities since Cole's gone down, what is he doing differently that's helped him elevate his production?
I think he's confident. He's worked hard to get better, and out of need or out of just the fact that I like the ball to go inside, we're trying to emphasize it more. And you know, if your shooting percentages aren't really good, then throw it to the guy whose shooting percentage is good. I mean, you know, I do talk to him about common sense a great deal, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's something that he worked hard to improve, and he's showing people that he has improved, and that we have a tremendous need for somebody to step up, and I think he's trying to fill that. Easy press conference. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah.
You
Given the
spoke
way,
in the afternoon.
I know,
So close.
I almost let you off the hook
I
there.
wish I'd been like I want our players to be. I wish I'd been a little quicker.
So much of this is new for you,
Yeah.
and some people, when they ask about how you're dealing with something like this as a coach, you don't have plans that you've gone through in the past that you can draw from. So how are you kind of navigating through this when you draw up your approaches, maybe what you talk to the kids about before the game or practice or?
I'm not handling it very well, I can tell you that, but, I keep telling them in life, you're gonna get hit and things aren't gonna go smoothly, you gotta keep going. I'm old-fashioned, I'm corny, but I believe people that play athletics, that enjoy the victories, but also handle the losses and bounce back and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. I think that prepares you for life, and that doesn't mean that somebody else that doesn't believe in that, it doesn't mean they're wrong, but I strongly believe that. And I talked to them about it after the game the other night. There's a lot of things in life you just don't feel like it's fair, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you can't just go belly up. And I talked to them about that, and so if I talk to them about that, I gotta do the same thing. I mean, there's no question that the lows in coaching are so much lower than the highs are high. I mean, it's unbelievable. And some of you guys have heard, Coach Smith told me his only worry about me was just how I handled the losses as an assistant. Because he said it's a lot more difficult as a head coach, and he was right again. But it doesn't do any good to make excuses. It doesn't do any good to give reasons. And there's a difference between excuses and reasons. What you have to do is at 3 o'clock today, I'm gonna go back out on the court and I'm gonna try to coach to the best of my ability. And there will never be a day that I would cheat those kids. And so that's the way you gotta live your life. You just gotta keep going and keep going. Practice, you gotta get enthused about it. You gotta go out there and think you can get better. We got home, I got in the car Wednesday night, 2:58, and went home and stayed up watching the tape till 6, and went to bed and slept great till 8:10. So I thought it was a hell of a night, that kind of thing. And tonight I'll watch a lot of tape. I'll watch the highlights of the golf tournament, and that's about it. I haven't watched, I don't even think I've turned the TV on all week. And I've been watching tape and those kind of things. So to me, it's just, I hope it'll always be uncharted waters. I hope I don't go through this, or we go through it. It's not just me, but just try to do the best you can and go back out there. And I still remember Deion Thompson when we had all the problems, lost everybody in 2010, and then Tyler got hurt and Ed got hurt and all this kind of stuff. And I asked my staff if they wanted to go to the NIT, and they said no, 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 and no. And I asked my wife, and she said no. And so I called the AD and said, we're going. And it's my vote counted more than they did. And I'll never forget Deion Thompson saying that regardless of how bad things were, that I kept coming out there and trying to make them believe that we can get better and working at it. And it meant just as much to me the last day of practice as it did the first. And I don't think that's the reason he put the tattoo of me on his leg or anything, but I told him he didn't have to go that far. I told him he was a little silly at that, but so I guess, you gotta just try to do the best you can do. Coach Smith used to say there's millions and millions of people in some foreign country that don't even know we played. And I am mad at Coach Smith right now, to be honest with you. He had this statement he told us 2 or 3 times, and I always disagreed with him. He said, around here, we should have a really bad year about every 7 or 8 years and make people appreciate what we do the rest. I told him I disagreed. I didn't want to go through that crap, and crap is the best word I can give it right now. So it's one of the few times I disagreed with Coach Smith, but I violently disagree with this.
Roy, you've talked about how at least your players think that you've mellowed over the years in terms of how hard you are on them in practice. Mm-hmm. Have you mellowed any with regard to what Coach Smith said, with you taking losses so hard, or is that what really drives you?
A little bit of both. We're getting very philosophic here before a game, but I do believe, as I said, the losses are so much more higher and hurt more than the wins make you feel better. Wins, as soon as you win the game, you jump around the locker room and say, who do we have next? Or, can you give me that scout report? Can you give me that tape? They just don't last long enough. And but I I think I've said this before, I've gotten more mellow in one way, because I used to coach out of fear. I made them afraid of me and how much we were going to have to run at the end of practice, and it worked. And as I've gotten older, I've tried to get them to care as much as I did, and have that personal pride, and do that more, and try to coach, do that way more. And that's the way they say that I've mellowed. Very few of them will, I don't know that anybody will say that I handle the losses any better. It still hurts the same. And I think the older I've gotten, it's hard to believe that I'm saying this, but the older I've gotten, I think the losses hurt even more and stick with you even more, and you feel the personal blame even more.
Watching 2002 from afar.
2002? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, here, not, obviously. Do you remember kind of thinking, how did that ever, I mean, you're detached then, you decided to stay at Kansas, things are going on without you here. But do you remember at all what your kind of thoughts or emotions were watching that? Like, and was there a part of you, because I would think this, that thought, well, that wouldn't be happening if I'd gone there?
Well, you understand that when I stayed the very next year, they had a good year.
Sure.
Okay. And I had tremendous confidence in Matt, and I thought Matt would be here for the next 30 years. And I cared about North Carolina at that time, dramatically deep and all that kind of stuff. But I never had those thoughts at all that wouldn't be happening if I were there. Never had that 1 second. I would call Matthew and talk to him, try to counsel him, understood what he was going through, and that was the extent of it. At the same time, when I say that I cared dramatically, and whatever word I used, I mean greatly, I did. But also that was compartmentalized over here, because I had my own team that I had to coach and worry about. And I think if you have, in my opinion, I've got my family and basketball team, and that's really all I care about. When the season's over, I like to tee it up with my buddies, as I said before, but old Roy can't do so many things other than those two. That see it, my grandsons, my little granddaughter now, those things I love, and believe it or not, going out there on the court and practicing every day, I love that. But, I had enough to worry about with my own plate. We were pretty good, but still I had enough to worry about my own plate.
Coach, Chris Likes has proven to be an issue, giving you guys some problems, and now Dejan Vasilovic is shooting like 43% from 3. How do you guys stop those guys tomorrow?
Well, I don't think you do stop them. I mean, Chris has made it difficult about everybody's play. I think he's played very well against us, and last year we were lucky and got both of them. But he is really hard to guard because he's so quick. He shoots from so deep. That's like you go out there and get him, he goes by you, and you say, where did he go? It's like the road runner trying to figure out where he's going. But so you try to slow him down, hope that he doesn't shoot a high percentage. In Basilic, I mean, 43% from 3. I think he's 97% of the foul line. So, one of my coaching tips is going to be don't foul him. It's pretty simple, but you hope that their percentages aren't as good, and you try to make things that you do well again more of a factor in the game.
Roy, you had mentioned no update on Cole. I just wanted to make sure that we understood where he is right now. You had said before that he was
in the locker room.
you had said previously that he was doing some shooting. Is that still the extent of what he's doing?
Not doing anything else.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Okay. Thanks.
He hadn't done one thing I could yell at him about.
He put on his social media, hashtag soon. When you saw that, or heard about it.
I think he got tired of people saying, "Oh, he's just delaying it. He's not coming back." And I don't have any doubts that he's coming back. It's just we're waiting for the doctors to say it's time for him to do it. And again, I go in everybody's home and say, "I'm going to treat your son like I want you to treat mine." So why should we not be very cautious?
You would need him to do some full court practicing for a couple of days, right, before he can play. Isn't that kind of your standard?
I mean, he hadn't shot a shot. People watching him, and what would this be, 5 weeks on Monday or 6?
6 weeks.
6 weeks on Monday. I think the world of it, but I ain't gonna do that.
Well, Christian, somebody came here, averaging known as a scorer, a struggle. What was the biggest adjustment you noticed for him in making that jump?
Well, you used the word right there. It's a big jump. You know, I mean, there's nothing against Charleston Southern. I love the place. It's pretty. I've been there. I've got a home there. But that's a different level than what we are. So it's a difficult adjustment for a guy to come from high school to college. It's a difficult adjustment for a guy to come from Charleston Southern. And I think he lost a lot of his confidence when the ball stopped going in the basket with as much regularity. And I still keep giving him chances and love him to death as a kid. But it's, you know, you can go play your Muni course all you want, think you're good, and try to go play Augusta National. How crap you think you're going to do then? I can tell you, it doesn't work. Shot 69 6 times in my life, and none of them were Augusta National.
Four prospects from the 2020 signing class were named All-Americans. I think you had 2009 was the last time 4. How do you think this class could kind of rank up some of your best signing classes here? Just based
I
on
think you just have to wait and see. I mean, you knew the answer before you even asked it. So how do you know? I mean, that class in 2009, John, Dexter, and Travis and David really looked good, and I still think it was good. But John not overachieved, but John achieved more than the rest of them did. And we've had some good classes. I mean, Ty, Wayne, and Brandon as a #1 point guard, #1 two guard, #1 power forward, and they all three excelled dramatically. Yet you have some guys who don't, and we feel good about it. But as I've said to everybody else too, I hope I live long enough for them to get here, kind of thing. But I'm very proud. I talked to all 4 of them last night. They were very happy. And I'm still going to see them play. I saw Ron play twice last weekend. I'll see Walker play this coming week. So if you tell me how that could make me better tomorrow, I'd be even happier. But right now, I can't figure out how the hell that's going to make me better tomorrow.
And one thing, RJ, I mean, he was kind of ranked number 50 or so, and he's really jumped up and to be one of the top 25 kids. What have you seen from him progression the last couple of months, I guess?
Well, he's just continued to work. He's a scorer. He's continued to work at it. Everyone I gave one of the things I gave him last night, all 4 of them was the same message. You got there because of your sweat, and not because of anything else. You got there because of your sweat. And I had guys before that were not McDonald's All-Americans that were pretty doggone good, and I've had some McDonald's All-Americans who were great and some not quite as good. Told everybody one of the greatest classes I ever had was Nick Collison, Kirk Heinrich, and Drew Gooden. Kirk Heinrich was not a McDonald's All-American. He beat the crap out of a lot of those guys that were. But I'm very proud of all those guys, and RJ probably more so because he did come from farther out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, momentarily.